in the hushed, mist-shrouded hills of rural Londonderry, where the wind carries the scent of damp earth and ancient secrets. A tale clings to the landscape like a shadow that refuses to fade. It is the story of Abhartach, a name whispered with dread, a dwarfish, malevolent figure from Irish folklore, a vampire before the word existed, and perhaps the darkest entity ever to rise from Ireland's sacred grave mounds. In the quiet of Slatterverty, where thorn bushes guard a solitary dolmen, his legend endures, a stain on the soil that time cannot wash away. Unlike the brooding, aristocratic vampires of Gothic tales, Abhartach is a grotesque, stunted creature, his form as twisted as his soul. In life, he was said to be a chieftain or sorcerer of the 5th or 6th century, ruling a small fiefdom in what is now County Derry. But his reign was no noble stewardship. Abhartach was a tyrant whose cruelty knew no bounds, his power rooted not in strength of arms but in dark, arcane rituals that chilled even the hardest warriors. His subjects lived in terror, for Abhartach demanded a tribute unlike any other. Not gold, not grain, but blood. Night after night, it is said, he descended upon his people, draining their life to sat an unnatural hunger, his eyes glinting with malice under a moonless sky. The people of Slatterverty suffered in silence, their pleas drowned by fear, until whispers of their plight reached the ears of Fionn mac Cumhaill, the legendary warrior giant and leader of the Fianna. Fionn, whose name echoes through Ireland's myths as a defender of the weak, rode to the valley with his enchanted spear, its blade said to glow with the light of the other world. In a clash beneath a storm-racked sky, Fionn confronted Abhartach. The battle was fierce. Abhartach's sorcery clawed at the air, summoning shadows that writhed like living things, but Fionn's strength prevailed. With a single thrust, he drove his spear through the tyrant's heart and buried him in a shallow grave, piling earth and stones to seal his evil beneath the ground. But the land did not rest. The following night, as the moon hung low, a scream tore through the village. Abhartach had returned, clawing free from his tomb, his flesh pale as bone and his hunger sharper than ever. His laughter, a guttural rasp, echoed across the hills as he resumed his blood-soaked reign, targeting those who had dared hope for freedom. Fionn summoned once more, fought the creature again, this time driving his spear deeper and burying the body beneath a heavier cairn, ringed with sacred stones inscribed with Ogham runes. Yet again, Abhartach rose, his form more grotesque, his power swollen by some unholy pact with forces older than the hills themselves. Despair gripped the land. Villages emptied as families fled, leaving their hearths cold. The Fianna, for all their valor, faltered before a foe who mocked death. It was then that a druid, cloaked in robes woven with rowan and mistletoe, arrived from the sacred groves of the south. His eyes, clouded with the wisdom of the other world, saw what mortal blades could not. Abhartach is no mere man, the druid warned. His soul is bound to a darkness that defies the grave. To bind him, you must defy nature itself. He instructed Fionn to slay Abhartach once more, but this time to bury him upside down. A sword driven through his heart to pin his spirit to the earth. A great slab of stone, blessed with ancient rites, must seal the grave, and thorn bushes, sacred to the old gods, must encircle it to ward off his influence. Fionn followed the druid's command. In a final, harrowing battle, he struck Abhartach down, the creature's screams shaking the very stars. The burial was precise, the body inverted, the sword plunged deep, the cairn erected under the druid's chants. Thorn bushes were planted, their roots sinking into the cursed soil. At last, silence fell over Slataverti. Abhartach did not rise again. The site of Abhartach's final resting place, known today as Slataverti Dolmen, or the Giant's Grave, remains a stark monument to this grim tale. A single, weathered slab of stone juts from the earth, surrounded by gnarled thorn bushes that seem to clutch at the air. The dolmen, older than the Christian crosses that dot the nearby fields, stands alone in a landscape of rolling green, its presence both commanding and foreboding. Local tradition holds the site as cursed, a place where the veil between worlds is perilously thin. Farmers give the dolmen a wide berth, their plows carving careful arcs around its perimeter. Elders warn children never to climb the stones or pick the thorns, lest they rouse what lies beneath. It's not just a story, says Seamus O'Donnell, a Slataverti farmer whose family has worked the land for generations. My grandfather saw something there once, a hunched shadow moving fast through the trees at dusk. He said it wasn't human, not the way it moved. After that, he wouldn't go near the grave, not even in daylight. Modern visitors report eerie phenomena, compasses spinning wildly, phones and cameras failing without explanation, or sudden chills that pierce even the warmest coats. Some claim to hear faint scratches beneath the earth, as if something still struggles against its bonds. A 2023 investigation by a Belfast-based paranormal group recorded a distorted voice on their equipment, repeating a single Gaelic word: fuel, blood. The team left shaken, their footage shared widely online, fueling renewed interest in Abhartach's legend. The tale of Abhartach has long been overshadowed by the global fame of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yet scholars increasingly believe the Dublin-born author drew inspiration from this Ulster horror. Stoker, steeped in Irish folklore through his mother's stories of the Great Famine and its attendant terrors, would have known of Abhartach. The parallels are striking: a blood-drinking corpse that rises from the grave, defeated only by a blade through the heart and ritual burial. Unlike Vlad the Impaler, whose historical cruelty inspired Dracula's name, Abhartach offers a uniquely Irish blueprint, a creature born not of foreign castles, but of Ireland's own haunted hills. Dr. Anthony Delaney, a folklorist at Trinity College Dublin, sees Abhartach as a key to understanding Ireland's complex relationship with the supernatural. He's not a foreign monster imported from Transylvania, Delaney explains. Abhartach is homegrown, rooted in the fear of the restless dead, those who die in sin or violence and refuse to stay buried. His story predates the vampire myths of Eastern Europe, suggesting Ireland had its own tradition of blood-drinking horrors tied to the land and its ancient spirituality. Delaney also notes the cultural context of Abhartach's legend. In early Irish society, blood was sacred, tied to life and the gods. A figure like Abhartach, who perverts that sanctity, is the ultimate abomination. His dwarfish form may reflect older Celtic beliefs about the Sidhe, otherworldly beings who could be benevolent or malevolent. Abhartach is what happens when that power turns dark. In recent years, Abhartach's story has crept from the firesides of Derry into the wider world. Paranormal enthusiasts, drawn by the dolmen's eerie reputation, make pilgrimages to Slataverti, leaving offerings of coins, flowers, or iron nails, traditional wards against evil. Tour guides now include the site on haunted island itineraries, though they warn visitors to respect the grave. "Don't touch the stone," advises Guide Kelly. Not because it's dangerous, but because it feels wrong. You'll know when you're there. The air changes. Locals, while wary, are pragmatic about the attention. Tourists bring money, but they don't understand, says O'Donnell. This isn't a theme park. That grave is real, and what's under it is real. You don't poke a sleeping dog, especially one with teeth. Some visitors report unsettling encounters. A German hiker in 2024 described seeing a small, hunched figure watching her from the edge of the woods near the dolmen, vanishing when she raised her camera. A Derry teenager dared by friends to spend an hour by the grave at twilight, fled after hearing what he swore was a voice whispering his name from beneath the stone. "It knew me," he later told his mother, refusing to return to the site. Whether Abhartach was a historical chieftain, a dark sorcerer, or a myth born of fear, his legacy is as enduring as the dolmen that marks his grave. He is a reminder that Ireland's past is not all heroic sagas and emerald fields. It is also a land of shadows, where the dead sometimes walk and the earth remembers its wounds. The thorn bushes around Slataverty dolmen grow thick, their roots entwined with the cursed soil, as if holding the stone in place. The sword, if it exists, lies buried deep, its blade still piercing the heart of a creature that defies death. As night falls over the Londonderry hills, the mist thickens, and the dolmen stands silent, a sentinel in the dark. No one lingers past dusk, for the air grows heavy with the weight of something watching, waiting. Abhartach's story is a warning. Some evils are too great to die, too hungry to fade. And in the quiet of Slataverty, where the wind whispers of blood and betrayal, the vampire of Ireland lies bound, but never truly gone. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, like, subscribe, and comment below.